Listen up, because I've got something important to tell you. Life ain't always easy. It can knock you down, push you around, and make you feel like giving up. But I'm here to tell you that no matter how tough things get, no matter how dark the night seems, God will make a way for you. You might be sitting there thinking, how can you be so sure? Well, let me tell you a story. When I was a young boy growing up in Mount Vernon, New York, times were tough. My parents split up when I was 14, and my mom had to work long hours to keep food on the table. I could have easily gone down the wrong path, gotten mixed up with the wrong crowd. But you know what? God had a plan for me. He put people in my life who believed in me, who pushed me to be better. My mother, bless her soul, she worked her fingers to the bone to send me to private school. She knew education was my ticket out. And let me tell you, she was right. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. I had my fair share of setbacks. There were times when I doubted myself, when I wondered if I was good enough. But that's when faith kicks in. That's when you got to trust that God's got your back. You see, God doesn't promise us an easy life. He doesn't say there won't be obstacles, hardships, or pain. But what he does promise is that he'll be there with us every step of the way. He'll give us the strength to keep going when we feel like we can't take another step. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, that's easy for you to say, Denzel. You're a successful actor. You've made it. But let me tell you something. Success isn't about fame or money. It's about living a life of purpose, about using your God-given talents to make a difference in this world. And that's something each and every one of you can do. You don't need to be rich or famous to make an impact. You just need to have faith and be willing to put in the work. Think about it like this. When you plant a seed, you don't see the results right away. You got to water it, nurture it, and have patience. Some days you might look at that little patch of dirt and think nothing's happening. But beneath the surface, that seed is growing, getting stronger every day. That's how God works in our lives. He's planting seeds of opportunity, of growth, of change. But we got to do our part. We got to water those seeds with hard work, with determination, with faith. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There will be days when you feel like throwing in the towel. Days when you wonder if all your hard work is worth it. But those are the days when you got to dig deep. Those are the days when you got to remember that God didn't bring you this far to leave you. You know, I've been blessed to play some incredible roles in my career, but the most important role I play isn't on the big screen. It's the role I play in my everyday life as a husband, a father, a friend, and a man of faith. And let me tell you, there have been plenty of times when I've had to lean on my faith to get through tough times. Times when I didn't get the role I wanted, when projects fell through, when I faced criticism and doubt. But you know what? Those challenges made me stronger. They helped me grow. That's the thing about faith. It's not just about believing when things are good. It's about holding on when things get tough. It's about trusting that even when you can't see the way forward, God can. Think about Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. They came up against the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army hot on their heels. It looked like there was no way out, but God made a way. He parted those waters and led his people to safety. Now, I'm not saying God's going to part any seas for you, although he could if he wanted to. But what I am saying is that he'll make a way where there seems to be no way. He'll open doors that you never even knew existed. But here's the catch. You got to be ready. You got to be prepared to walk through those doors when they open. And that means putting in the work now, even when you can't see the results. It's like training for a race. You don't just show up on race day and expect to win. You got to put in the hours, the sweat, the tears. You got to push yourself even when every muscle in your body is screaming at you to stop. That's what faith is like. It's not passive, it's active. It's a choice you make every single day to trust in God's plan, even when that plan doesn't make sense to you. You know, one of my favorite Bible verses is Proverbs 3:5-6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." That's powerful stuff right there. It's telling us that we don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to understand everything that's happening in our lives. We just need to trust in God. And let me tell you, that trust can move mountains. It can take you places you never dreamed possible. It can help you overcome obstacles that seem insurmountable. But it's not just about what God can do for you. It's about what he can do through you. When you align yourself with God's purpose for your life, amazing things start to happen. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start to find strength you never knew you had. You become a beacon of hope in a world that desperately needs it. You become a living testament to the power of faith. Now, I'm not saying you won't face setbacks. You will. I'm not saying you won't have doubts. You will. But that's when you got to dig deep. That's when you got to remember that God's got your back. Think about David facing Goliath. On paper, it was a mismatch. David was just a young shepherd boy. Goliath was a seasoned warrior, a giant. But David had something Goliath didn't. He had faith. He knew that with God on his side, he couldn't lose. And you know what? The same is true for you. No matter what giant you're facing in your life, whether it's addiction, financial struggles, relationship problems, or anything else, say, with God on your side, you've already won. But here's the thing. You got to show up for the fight. You can't just sit back and expect God to do all the work. You got to put in the effort. You got to be willing to face your fears, to step out of your comfort zone. Because let me tell you something. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. It's when you're stretched, when you're challenged, that's when you really start to see what you're made of. And you might surprise yourself. You might find strengths you never knew you had. You might discover talents that have been lying dormant inside you. But none of that can happen if you're sitting on the sidelines. You got to get in the game. You got to be willing to take risks, to put yourself out there. And yes, sometimes you're going to fall. Sometimes you're going to fail. But that's okay, because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. You see, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. He doesn't expect you to be perfect. He just expects you to be faithful, to keep showing up, to keep trying, to keep believing. And when you do that, when you align your will with His, that's when miracles start to happen. That's when you start to see doors opening that you never even knew existed. But you got to be patient. You got to trust in God's timing, because His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't make sense to us. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He had a dream that one day he would be a great leader. But before that dream could come true, he was sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused of a crime he didn't commit, and thrown into prison. Now, I don't know about you, but if that was me, I might have started to doubt. I might have started to wonder if I'd heard God wrong. But Joseph kept the faith. He kept trusting in God's plan even when it didn't make sense. And you know what? God came through. Not only did Joseph get out of prison, but he became the second most powerful man in Egypt. He was in a position to save countless lives, including the lives of the very brothers who had sold him into slavery. That's the kind of thing that can happen when you trust in God's plan. When you believe that He will make a way for you, even when you can't see the way yourself. But here's the thing. You got to be ready for that moment. You got to be prepared, because when your moment comes, it might not look like what you expected. It might come disguised as a challenge, as a setback, as a failure. But if you're ready, if you're prepared, you'll be able to see it for what it really is. An opportunity to grow, to learn, to become the person God created you to be. An opportunity to make a difference in this world, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's not about how much money you make or how famous you become. It's about the lives you touch, the difference you make. It's about using your God-given talents to lift up others, to bring light into dark places, to be a force for good in this world. And let me tell you something. There's no greater feeling in the world than knowing you're walking in your purpose, that you're doing what God put you on this earth to do. But it takes courage. It takes faith. It takes perseverance, because the road won't always be easy. There will be times when you feel like giving up, when you wonder if it's all worth it. That's when you got to remember who you are and whose you are. You are a child of God, created in His image, with a purpose and a destiny. You are not defined by your past mistakes or your current circumstances. You are defined by your faith, by your character, by your willingness to keep going even when the going gets tough. And let me tell you, when you live like that, when you walk in faith, amazing things start to happen. You start to see the world differently. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start to find strength you never knew you had. You become unstoppable, not because you're perfect, but because you're relying on a perfect God, a God who loves you, who believes in you, who has a plan for your life. So don't give up. Don't lose hope. No matter how dark things might seem right now, remember that the dawn is coming. Remember that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating things in your favor. Your job is to keep the faith, to keep putting one foot in front of the other, to keep believing that God will make a way for you even when you can't see the way yourself. Because he will. He always does. He's a way maker, a miracle worker, a promise keeper, and he's got you in the palm of his hand. So hold on to your faith. Hold on to your dreams. Hold on to the promise that God has a plan for your life. A plan to prosper you, not to harm you. A plan to give you hope and a future. And remember, success isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up every time you fall. It's about learning from your mistakes, growing through your challenges, and becoming stronger with every obstacle you overcome. It's about having the courage to pursue your dreams, even when others doubt you. It's about having the faith to keep going, even when the path ahead seems unclear. Because here's the truth, God didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't give you those dreams just to disappoint you. He's got something amazing in store for you, something beyond your wildest dreams. But you got to be willing to take that leap of faith. You got to be willing to step out of the boat like Peter did when he walked on water. You got to be willing to face your giants like David did when he faced Goliath. Because that's where the miracles happen. That's where you see God's power at work in your life. And let me tell you, there's nothing more exciting, nothing more fulfilling than seeing God's plan unfold in your life. Than knowing that you're walking in your purpose, that you're making a difference in this world. So don't settle for less than God's best for your life. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let past failures define your future. Instead, choose faith. Choose hope. Choose to believe that God will make a way for you even when you can't see the way yourself. Because he will. He always does. He's faithful to his promises. He's true to his word. And he's got something amazing in store for you. Something that will blow your mind, that will exceed your expectations, that will leave you in awe of his goodness and his grace. So keep pushing, keep believing, keep trusting in God's plan for your life, because the best is yet to come. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. God is with you every step of the way. He's cheering you on. He's rooting for you. He's working all things together for your good. So don't give up. Don't lose heart. Keep your eyes fixed on him, and he will guide your steps. He will light your path. He will make a way for you. And when he does, when you see his plan unfold in your life, you'll look back on this moment and realize that every struggle, every setback, every challenge was worth it because it brought you to where God wanted you to be. So hold on to your faith. Hold on to your dreams. Hold on to the promise that God has a plan for your life, a plan that's bigger than your fears, greater than your challenges, and more amazing than you could ever imagine, because God will make a way for you. He always does. And his way is always better than anything we could plan for ourselves. So trust in him. Believe in his promises. And watch as he opens doors that no man can shut, as he makes a way where there seems to be no way. Because that's who our God is. He's a way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper. And he's got you in the palm of his hand. So keep going. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Because your breakthrough is coming. Your miracle is on the way. And God is about to do something in your life that will leave you in awe of his goodness and his grace. Remember, the God who created the universe, who hung the stars in the sky, who knows you by name, that God is on your side. He's fighting for you. He's making a way for you. So don't lose heart. Don't give up hope. Your best days are ahead of you. Your greatest victories are yet to come. Because when God is for you, who can be against you? When God is making a way for you, nothing can stand in your way. So hold on to your faith. Hold on to your dreams. Hold on to the promise that God has a plan for your life. A plan to prosper you, not to harm you. A plan to give you hope and a future. And watch as he turns your tests into testimonies, your mess into a message, your trials into triumphs. Because that's what our God does. He takes what the enemy meant for evil and turns it for good. He takes our broken pieces and creates a masterpiece. So trust in him. Believe in his promises, and watch as he makes a way for you where there seems to be no way, because he will. He always does. He's faithful to his promises. He's true to his word, and he's got something amazing in store for you, something that will blow your mind, that will exceed your expectations, that will leave you in awe of his goodness and his grace. So keep pushing, keep believing, keep trusting in God's plan for your life, because the best is yet to come. And when it does, when you see God's plan unfold in your life, you'll look back on this moment and realize that every tear, every struggle, every setback was worth it because it brought you to where God wanted you to be. So don't give up. Don't lose hope. Your miracle is on the way. Your breakthrough is coming. God is about to do something in your life that will leave you speechless because that's who our God is. He's a way maker. a miracle worker, a promise keeper, and he's got you in the palm of his hand. So trust in him. Believe in his promises and watch as he opens doors that no man can shut, as he makes a way where there seems to be no way. Because God will make a way for you. He always does. And his way is always better than anything we could plan for ourselves. So keep going. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Because your best days are ahead of you. Your greatest victories are yet to come.